Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get started simply because it is 8 o'clock on the dot and time is our most precious currency. And I do value your time and the fact that you are here on time. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. My name is Kate, and tonight is all about you. My intention for this meeting is to do nothing else but to share with you what it is that I did and the breakthrough that I had that brought me from where I was to where I am today, because that gap is absolutely humongous. And if I haven't done the things that I have done, and I will share them with you, I would be still in the same place. And the place that I was in was not a very happy one. And I believe that we are like nowadays, we are in times where we really have to get clear on how we want to direct our life and how we want to actively and very consciously create it, because there's so much happening on the outside. Like we have new circumstances and new things literally being thrown at us at all times. And if we do not know ourselves, if we do not have that confidence, and that self-esteem to move forward, we're just gonna settle. We're gonna settle and we're gonna stay in the same situation as we are. And to be very honest with you, I didn't even have so-called rock bottom, okay? Because very often what happens is we feel that we need to hit rock bottom before we make changes. And I didn't have a moment like that in my life. The time when I realized that I have to make changes was 5 years ago. I was 34. I can't believe it's 5 years ago. And I can see clearly now what brought me to this moment, because you can only really connect the dots when you look backwards. And this is exactly what happened. And this is exactly why I'm created this webinar. And this is exactly why we are here tonight. So when I was 34, I already had my two babies. My daughter was 6, my son was 1 at the time. And this is when I quit my full-time career in fashion retail. I worked for fashion retail for about 14 years. I loved the vibe of it. I absolutely loved it. It was on the go. It was busy. I started as a salesperson, and over time, it's the inner ambition. I wanted to work my way up, and it was all brilliant. And I was really enjoying it. And then I had my daughter. And my whole world was turned upside down because my career literally hit the ceiling. I could not progress any further because nobody wants a store manager that is a parent. And this is a very harsh reality, guys. And I have to tell you that I was not prepared for that. I didn't have the tools that would help me cope with that, So I was working full time. My parents were looking after my child. And on top of that, I was a single parent. So the guy that I had the child with decided, no, thanks, it's not for me. Good luck. I will be supporting you from the far. And it was a massive blow. And you know what? Sometimes I think that when we live on autopilot, we move from one situation to another, and we don't really stop to check in with ourselves. Hey, how am I doing? Like, what can I do with the situation that is dealt in front of me? What I was doing, I was working like a donkey and, fighting that feeling of guilt that was on the inside every single day because I wasn't with my child. And I was a single parent, and I was living with my parents. And 2.5 years after that, I met my partner, my fiance. I'm still trying to get used to calling him my fiance. But we got together and we had a baby boy. And this is when I decided that my career in fashion retail is done and dusted. It's done and dusted because there's no way I will be able to afford a full-time childcare, go to work full-time, spend all my wages on childcare, because my boyfriend at the time has his own business and he runs his own business. He can't take a time off to stay home with the kids. So we had to make that choice. And I was ecstatic. I was absolutely ecstatic because I was like, I can finally actually experience being with an infant. I can give my daughter the time that she deserves so much, and I really loved it. And you know what? Even though I got what I really wanted, I was not happy. That did not change anything about how I felt on the inside. And the feeling of guilt, I don't know if you ever experienced that, but if somebody looked on my life from the outside, would be like, she's absolutely nuts. Like, she's absolutely crazy because she has this beautiful family. She's home with her kids. Her boyfriend has successful business. She can do what she pleases, you know, and she's unhappy. Like, what's wrong with her? And I was feeling guilty about that because I was feeling so incredibly low. And I kept looking for reasons on the outside. So I was getting upset with my boyfriend. We were fighting a lot. And I mean a lot. Because I was bickering. I was constantly picking on him. And I was like, why are you doing this like this? Why are you doing this like that? Why do you have to go out? Why do you have to meet this person? I had waves of jealousy because he's a good-looking man, okay? He's a very good-looking man, and he runs his own business, and it's a pub, okay? So come on. All I had in mind is that every time he goes to work, he probably gonna talk to other women, and, you know, like, what if he likes somebody better than me? That was literally my mindset at the time. And at the same time, I was feeling incredibly guilty because I wasn't doing anything for myself, like literally nothing. And it was a downwards spiral. But at the time, I didn't even know that there was actually an issue with me, and not an issue, okay? That's a very wrong word to use. I apologize. But I was disconnected and I was on the autopilot, getting from one day to another. Every single day looked the same, to the point where I had like a complete meltdown. My son was having a nap, my daughter was in school, and I was sitting and I was looking through the phone, and I literally went on YouTube and I put in the YouTube search, how to be happy. Like, that's how I felt at the time. I didn't tell anyone, like nobody knew how I felt on the inside, okay? Like, I didn't have a mature conversation with my boyfriend because we're constantly fighting. And I was, you know, I thought he's the one to blame. And my kids were to blame, and my parents were to blame, and everything was to blame. And I was in that vicious circle, and I literally just broke down and I typed in how to be happy. And the first video that popped up was by Marisa Peer, and she's a therapist from the UK. She is incredible. And she's the person that introduced me to the concept of self-worth, self-esteem, and the fact that everything begins with you. Everything begins with me. And everything begins with each and every one of you in this room tonight as well. Because if you have tendency to look around and point to things, okay, that you feel are responsible for where you are, the hardest thing to do, but the only thing you have to do, is to actually turn around and look at yourself. And that was a very hard pill to swallow for me, okay? Because when you are in that mindset, when you are in that victimhood, let's name it for what it is, it was a victimhood, okay? I was a victim of my circumstances. It's very hard to look away and actually look at yourself and have a very honest look at what it is that I'm contributing, what it is that I am putting out, what type of a person am I, and how am I feeling, why am I feeling this way, and how I can change it. And little by little, I got to work. I literally dove in. I would be listening to a different video every single day. Honestly, girls, if you knew that the stuff that I listened to, that the books that I've read, I've put in so much work into it because I got fascinated. I finally understood that, hey, like, there's nothing wrong with me. There is a reason why I am certain way. There's a reason why I feel certain way, but I can change that. And over the period of those 5 years, this is exactly what I've been doing. I did a personal development course. I actually partnered with the network marketing company as well. That was really like a proper entry to the personal development because I had tools in place that I could use, and I had people who felt very similar way, which obviously very helped in that growth as well. But what I did tonight, I literally put everything into like very compact version to perhaps save you a little bit of time, I think that one of the things that happens very often when we get into personal development is that we dive in so deep, we actually forget to take any action. And we focus on the reading and we focus on all those things and we're doing exercises and all those things, but we're not doing anything physically, okay? We're not taking action. We're not actually putting what we have learned into practice. So to save you some time, I'm gonna share my screen right now. I do have some slides, and the reason for that, they're not very curated, okay? But then again, we're not striving for perfection. These slides are for me to stay on track because I do tend to get a little bit distracted. And I do not want to do that tonight. I want to focus on everything that's ahead of us. So just bear with me when I make it full screen. If someone could let me know if you can see the slides, that would be absolutely amazing. Because I hope it's working. And now that I'm doing that, I can't see the chat. This is great. Technology is absolutely amazing. And this is certainly not my virtue, but that's all right. Okay, you can see the slides. That is brilliant. So confidence looks good on you. That came to me randomly. This is not, there's no specific reason for the name for this meeting. This is like, I just feel that loving yourself, having that energy of like, I know who I am, I love who I am, and I accept who I am, that looks better than any outfit. Like, how many times have you met someone that, looks amazing from head to toe, but their energy is off? When it comes to confidence, like, I was a master faker for majority of my life. And the reason why is because I thought that if I speak loudly, I was very loud. I was, the loudest girl at the party. If I dress loudly, if I am a certain way, I will be accepted in certain circles. Okay. I wanted to be a popular girl. Like, that was me when I was a teen. When you go through this awkward phase and you're trying to figure out who you are and, who are your mates, who you want to hang out with. Yeah, like, I wanted to be with popular kids and I was not popular. So I would put on this facade. I would pretend that, I'm a very confident person. And to be honest with you, at the time, I didn't even know what confidence was. And I do have a definition. This is what, like, if you have seen my Google search yesterday, like, you would have dropped, because the amount of different theories and different explanations of what confidence really is absolutely bonkers. Now when personal development is so big, because a lot of people are taking charge of their lives, they want to develop themselves. So there's a lot of teachers, and a lot of them, they have their own opinions. So I have picked what I believe is the most accurate and the one that resonates with me the most now, not in the past, but specifically now. And that is that confidence is built on trust. It means trusting that you have capabilities that are sufficient to deal with a given situation. This is what happens when you're trying to twist the words that you're reading, okay? Having confidence means you're better prepared to deal with change and uncertain situations. And that, to me, is a very good definition of confidence. This is not, being a certain way. It's not about being arrogant. It's not about being somebody better. It's not about, walking in very fast and, just having all those qualities. I think very often that is confused with what confidence really is. And that is that belief that no matter what happens, like, I'm fine. And I was working on that very hard when I partnered with this network marketing company. And the reason why is because part of doing this business is showing up online. That's just one side of it. The biggest part of it is networking with people. It's, contacting new people. It's having conversations. And, I was like, I don't really struggle with that. I'm quite open. I'm confident. I can have a conversation. But there was one essential thing lacking. And if I left you with that definition of confidence, if I gave you tools now how to boost your confidence before you speak to someone, to improve your relationship, to get a new job, I could do all that. We could do it within half an hour, but you would not see a change in your life. And the reason why is because, confidence is that willingness to try. It is that taking action. But if you do not have solid self-esteem or self-worth, these two terms are incredibly similar. Like, to me, they're pretty much the same. None of that will matter, because self-esteem to me is the foundation that has to be laid before you even, think about taking actions. Because self-esteem, on the other hand, refers to one's valuation of oneself. It's how we perceive ourselves, our thoughts and emotion. And that self-esteem, self-worth will influence our actions. So very often, when there was a job opening, okay, I worked with Bershka. So whenever there was a job opening, I would apply for that promotion. Okay, so there was first assistant manager, then store manager, and I would nail the interview. Like, I would have absolutely no problem, because I knew my stuff. I knew I was good at my job. I could present myself, no problem, but I still wouldn't get the job. And the reason why is because deep down, I didn't believe I was worthy of it. And I didn't believe I could create that success. And even though on the outside, I looked like, hey, she has it all together. Like, she's well prepared. There's absolutely no reason why she can't get the job. Deep down, I was sending energy of like, I don't think I can handle that job. I don't think I am worthy of that job. And we read energy so well. Like, you can share with me in the chats how many times you've spoken to someone or had an interaction with someone, and you could smell the BS from a mile off. You could feel that something's off. You can feel when people are scared. You can feel, not just by their body, but their energy. I'm a massive believer that, your energy introduces you before even you open your mouth, before even somebody, gets a glimpse of your face. Even when you speak on the phone to someone, you don't see them, but by the way they talk, by the vibes they're giving you, you can probably picture them. Like, I had it very often when I was talking to someone in the bank, especially, and they just have this draining, sad voice. And you can just imagine this person literally just hating life. And it's the energy, and they're doing their job very well. They gave me all the accurate information. They were polite, they weren't rude, but their energy was saying something completely different. So over, the period of maybe the first year since I got really to work, I realized that, hey, like the real root of the problem is my self-esteem. It's my, very low self-worth. And I came across an exercise that blew my mind and really completely changed my perspective on self-worth and how much value we put on ourselves. And I would love to do this exercise with you. And it's only gonna take 2 minutes, okay? And you don't have to get up or anything. But I would love for you to be incredibly honest with yourself, because with that sort of work, unless something changes, nothing will change. And if you don't feel like you are in the environment right now when you can be a little bit quiet with yourself and really give it a thought, that's perfectly fine. You can come back to it another time. But what I'd like for you to do is, on the scale from 1 to 10, measure your self-worth. And by no means, you do not have to put it in the chat, okay? This is between you and you. But I want you to give yourself a very honest answer. This exercise was created by a Polish therapist. She's a life coach. She creates the most beautiful meditations as well. Her name is Claudia, and she often does it with her clients. She shared that exercise on her channel, and it blew my mind. And I did it. And I'm going to share with you what she found, you know, in her studies through practicing this exercise with thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But first, I want you to give yourself an honest answer. And on the scale from 1 to 10, just tell yourself, you know, rate yourself how high or low is your self-worth. I think there's so much power in getting honest with yourself and getting real. And this, like I said, difference between confidence and self-worth, this is not confidence, because with the confidence, you can be a 10 on the chart, okay? But your self-esteem could be 2 or even 1. So once you have that answer, this lady asked her clients, once they put in the answer, she said, why didn't you give yourself a 0? Because 80% of people that do this exercise, they will go anywhere from between 5 to 7. And then, you know, a smaller percentage, we go 1 to 4, and very, 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 very little percent. I think it was like maybe 2% answered between 8 and 10. But she asked them up front, why didn't you put down 0? Because nobody did out of all those people. When she asked them, the response she got was pretty amazing, because she said that as soon as she asked the question, everybody got thinking, well, no, like, I'm worth more than 0. Like, why would I give myself a 0? Like, you know, I have a job, like, I'm not that bad. Like, I do have a job. Like, I have kids, they're alive. I'm feeding my children. I graduated school, you know, like things aren't that bad. You know, I have another language, you know, and people started listing all the things that they're actually proud of, that made them, you know, realize that self-worth is much higher than they thought it is. And if I asked you now to think really hard, okay, about all of your achievements, I bet you could list a good amount of things that you didn't even think of, okay? But if I challenge you and ask you, why didn't you give me 0? You'd be like, oh, because of this, 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 and this, and that. Your self-worth will actually go a little bit higher, because you will realize that, you know what, like, I'm doing good. Maybe it's not great yet, okay, but I'm doing good. There are some amazing things I have achieved in my life. Now, the second part of the exercise is where I want you to measure somebody else's worth. So on the screen, what you see is a tiny little baby, okay? I'm a mom of 2. This makes me broody. This is dangerous. If you're a mom, you instantly have that emotion, okay, of a brand new baby that literally just came into the world. Now, my question to you is, like, how much worth do you think this baby has? Like, on the scale from 1 to 10, how worthy do you think this baby is? And when she did this exercise, I'm pretty sure a lot of you will agree with that. If you want to share it in the chat, how worthy do you think this baby is? And majority of people will say 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 11, 11, 100. Because you look at this innocent baby and you're like, oh my God, it's perfection. It's absolute perfection. And let's do a little comparison, okay? Because you gave yourself whatever score you gave yourself, and you gave a very high score to this baby. I hope you did, okay? But I'm sure majority of you did. And this baby doesn't have a job. This baby can't even walk yet, okay? Doesn't speak, doesn't do anything, didn't achieve anything, doesn't have a wife or husband on its own kids, didn't learn anything new. Like, it's brand new. And here is the distinction, okay, between judging yourself and valuing yourself based on your accomplishments and based on the simple fact that you are worthy just because you are. Like this baby. that didn't do anything yet. It just is absolutely perfect, immaculate, and hasn't done anything. So why are we being so hard on ourselves? Why are we beating ourselves up over what we did, what we didn't do? I messed up. I should have done this. I should have done that. And we based our self-worth on that. And, you know, achieving things is great. Like, you can always go after more. But unless you realize that the fact that you are is enough for you to feel valuable, lovable, capable, and worthy, nothing will move in your life, because you can go after the biggest dreams, you can go after the biggest goals. And this is what I was doing in my business. As soon as I learned how this business works, I knew instantly where I want to be. And I knew exactly what I want to earn. And I knew exactly what type of an impact I want to create and what ripple effect I want to create utilizing this opportunity. But I was getting anywhere. I was getting nowhere, simply because deep down, I did not believe that I am worthy of this success, that it's possible me, that I'm capable of it. I was entertaining the idea in my own head, being like, yes, I can do all those things. If she did it, I can do it. But my heart was saying, hey, we need to get some work done here, because there's a, like, you know, your conscious and your subconscious are clashing. There's like, there's no alignment. You're trying to bullshit your way into success, and it's not going to happen. And I'd like for you to realize that this tiny little baby on the screen, that was you at one point. That's how you came to this world. Naked, screaming, not being able to do anything except for love, and perfect, absolutely perfect at the same time, without having or not having anything. So here's the goal. Here's the goal, everyone, that, like, to me, that is the reason why we are doing this work, is to build ourselves up, is to create ourselves in a way that no matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, inflation, breakup, whatever, okay, or a troll or internet, doesn't matter, I'm good. I'm good, because I know my worth, and I know that there's nothing wrong with me. I may not be perfect, because perfection doesn't exist, okay? This is a scam. Perfection is a scam. It doesn't matter what happens. I will mess up, I will fail, but I also learn and I try. And simply that is enough for you to feel good about yourself and to feel worthy, and realize and come to learn that the outside world doesn't have to shape your inner world. That, to me, was one of the biggest lessons, because one of the reasons why I wanted to do this work is because I was sick and tired that after an argument with my boyfriend that was more like usually initiated by me, I would feel crap. I wouldn't do anything. Very often I wouldn't even do the laundry because I was sulking and I was upset. And very often, you know, if anything else happened that would trigger me, that would, you know, constantly stir things on the inside, I would give up on everything else I was doing. And somebody, I can't remember who exactly said that, but anytime you react because somebody's action or a circumstance that is outside of your control, you're giving them all your power. Like, it's like other people and situations are dictating your life. And I was like, this is so true. This is so incredibly true. And I was like, I have to work on that. And this is how it started. And that's why we are here, because we are about to change that. So the very first thing, the very first tip that I'm going to give you is to change your state. And when I say this is something I learned from Tony Robbins, like the amount of people that said to me that was like, I can't stand him. I can't stand this person. He's too loud. He's too, you know, he's too energetic. This guy is a walking passion. And He's the one that taught me about the importance of our state, the importance of our energy, how to increase it. Because if I was sitting here and I was constantly looking down and my voice would be very quiet, like you probably would go to sleep fairly quickly. I can't even do it. I can't even do it. And the reason why I can't is because every time I'm doing something new, every time I encounter a new challenge, because tonight is challenging, let's face it, okay? This is not something I've done before. I feel great about it because I know that, if you really tune in, if you put some of it into work, if you give it some thought, that could be a beautiful beginning of some incredible journey for you that will take you wherever you want it to take you. But I prepped myself. I prepped myself physically. So I danced. I do dance, okay? It puts me in a great mood, but it increases my energy. I have a small trampoline in my room as well. And anytime I'm jumping on the Zoom or I'm hosting something, I go on the trampoline for 5 minutes and that gets my energy way higher. And that way, when you change your state, this is the best place then to start creating changes in your life, because you will not create progress. You will not, create a breakthrough or any shift in your life unless you start with your energy, your body. Even when you stand up, when you put your shoulders back or do the power pose. Have any of you ever done a power pose? Like, I love them. When you stand like a Wonder Woman, okay? I try to do Superman, but it's very hard. So I do Wonder Woman. But if you stay in that position for 2 minutes, and this is scientifically proven, it's been tested and checked, if you do that, your chemistry changes. The actual chemistry in your body will change if you just change the state of your physical body. That's why the exercise is so important. And it doesn't have to be the gym every single day, but just moving your body, feeling your body. When you speak to someone and you're like that, and you're hiding your head in your shoulders, instantly you're creating a barrier. Instantly people feel that she's unsure of herself. She's not being open with me. You can read people so well with their body language. So that state is so incredibly important. And to increase your energy, you can do various of things. Like, there's so many resources online that you can do. To me, exercise is absolutely fantastic. Doing jumping jacks or using the small trampoline or even playing with your kids and having like a really good song on and allow yourself, to dance around to it. I know, what, guys, like, I believe that sometimes we get very serious and we believe that, it's like, oh, we are a certain age, we shouldn't really have fun. We parents, we work, we run our businesses, we have to be, all have it all together at all times. We forget what it's like to have fun. We forget what it's like to get goofy because we feel like it's dumb. It's not cool. Well, I'm telling you, it's really, really cool. Even if you spend few times of your day doing something that makes you laugh. Like, laughter is such a great tool to increase your energy. Don't take yourself so seriously. I know that, my God, like when I was a teen and I had this fake confidence, I was such a poser. Like, I was such a poser. And very often my mom is such, like, she's such a goofball. And very often, like, I remember once I hit like 17, 18, 19, I was like, oh, that's so not cool. Like, I'm all serious. Like, I'm too good for that. I'm so serious. And I stayed in that seriousness, honestly. And I didn't even realize how much I missed genuine, like, kids like laughter. And I am so blessed to have some incredible women in my life, like Miranda. If you hear, shout out to you, because she is, like, to me, a definition of a person that has a great sense of humor, has the best laugh, and creates the best energy, and doesn't take herself too seriously. I used to take myself incredibly seriously, and that was boring, okay? Like, nobody wants to be with a boring person, let's face it. So check with yourself. on daily basis. The moment you may be doing some housework, or you may be talking to your spouse, or you may be doing anything, and you feel that heaviness in your shoulders, and you feel your body is starting to get heavy, and you're getting into that state, it's like, I'm wrecked, I'm not inspired. You're not going to take any action from that state, are you? Like, that's a killer of action. What you need is to energize yourself, and you will be the only person that will know what that is. What makes you feel good? What gets your body moving? What makes you laugh? Like, sometimes I just watch comedy. Like, I don't really watch Netflix anymore unless we found like a cracking series, and then we binge watch. But other than that, like, the only time I put it on is to watch Michael McIntyre. Like, he cracks me up. And sometimes I need that. Sometimes we just need to distance ourselves and be like, let's just have a good laugh. And from that place, you will notice taking actions is so much easier, because you are in a completely different state. Oh, the slide decided to pause for a second. Oh, we're too far. Now, step 2 is probably the biggest homework you will do. But if you do it right, you're going to save yourself so much time in the future. This is where a lot of people in the world of personal development trips over, because a lot of the reasons why you are not feeling the way you want to feel, because it's all about how you want to feel. The success in your career, it's going to make you feel a certain way. The relationship you desire, it's going to make you feel a certain way. So start thinking about, what feelings am I chasing? What's really important to me? And when you get clear on what is your current story around those things, you will then be able to identify what is harming your pursuit of those desires. So in my case, I'm just going to break it down very quickly. In my case, my story was that I'm a victim, that nothing goes my way, that men are cheaters, because I was cheating on in the past, and therefore I had this assumption that my boyfriend will most likely do the same, and that people like me can't be successful. My father drilled it into me in my childhood, like probably till the day when I moved out, that I will never be successful, because I'm not built for it, because I'm not smart enough, because I didn't get masters in anything like my sister did. I was constantly compared, and that I was basically not good enough. And that was my story. And my story was based on many things that I have heard and experienced as a kid. And a lot of times people that go, and work on changing that, go into this nitty-gritty stuff, and they're trying to identify every single situation, every single belief they have, and they constantly saying, I have this block, and I have this block, and I have this trauma. When in reality, all you need to do is address what has happened and let go of it and create a new story. And it sounds so easy, doesn't it? And here's the thing, it really is that easy. It really is that easy the moment you decide to let go. And I think that for us humans, letting go is really hard. I don't know, maybe you have a situation like that. Maybe there are people in your life that trigger you. Maybe there is a person, like maybe it's an ex-partner, or maybe you're having a difficult relationship with your parents. And anytime you have a conversation, you feel literally rage inside, or hurt, or pain, or judgment. But you feel that discord, you feel a very strong emotion. And if that happens, it's because you're holding on to it. It had a massive emotional impact on your life, and you're holding on to it. And any situation that caused you emotional pain will stick around unless you let go of it. And I certainly went down the rabbit hole of listing every possible limiting belief I thought I had, and constantly saying myself, I feel like there's a block. I feel like I'm sabotaging myself. I feel like there's something in the way. That in itself is an affirmation. Constantly saying to yourself, there's something wrong, like I need to work on it, is an affirmation. If you keep saying this to you, you will always have something to work on. The bottom line is, and this is, what I was avoiding. I was avoiding the only work that would actually give me a breakthrough until I sat down and I did it. And number one is like, you have to get very honest with yourself. You have to get so real with who you are in your own mind. Not, like looking at your accomplishment is like, yes, I'm Kate, I'm a mom of two. Who are you as a person? Who are you? Are you a victim? Are you blaming others for your circumstances? Are you someone who's struggling to, get by financially? Are you someone that gets cheated on? Are you someone that people betray? Are you someone that always has it uphill? And what that is your story. That is literally your story. Everything you say to yourself, write it down. There's so much power in getting everything out of here onto the piece of paper, because you have something physically then to work with. And I was avoiding that work. I was genuinely avoiding that work because I believe that there's nothing wrong with me. Okay. I didn't want to get honest with myself. And when I did an exercise, I don't know if you ever heard of the mirror work, but I've done mirror work, and it took me a long time to actually be able to look in the mirror, but not the way we look, as in like quick, do my makeup, do my hair, check if everything is okay, but to actually look in your eyes and get honest with yourself. Like, I challenge you to look yourself in the mirror tonight, in your eyes, not checking yourself out and pointing what's wrong or what's great, but look yourself in the eyes and say, I love you. Like, seriously, girls, that exercise in itself is mind-blowing, and it will actually show you how much worth you put on yourself, how much you love yourself. Because if you struggle to do it, and you're gonna feel awkward because we don't do it, okay? But if you feel like it's hard, you can't bring yourself to do it, you've got that work to do, and you need to do that work. So I wrote down my story, and things kept coming and coming and coming, because when you allow yourself to get honest with yourself, it will be pouring. So I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. My English isn't good enough. I'm too loud. People judge me. I feel lost in certain places when we go to a nice hotel. Because my fiance, like, we like to travel, and very often he would treat me to something absolutely amazing. I didn't feel worthy of it. I felt like I don't deserve it. We would go to a nice hotel and I'll be like, is my outfit okay? I look a little bit out of place. I was constantly influenced when it came to makeup and clothing by other people. Do I fit in? Do I fit in? Do I look good? Do I look good enough? That was my story. I was such a victim. I was so little in this story that I have created based on everything I have experienced. And it's very easy to then, after you write your story, it's like, oh, that's my mom. That's my mom's fault. That's my dad's fault. That's, whoever influenced you to feel that way, whoever caused you to feel that pain, to experience that trauma, it's very easy to put the blame on them. And I did that too, okay? I blamed my dad, because my dad was so incredibly critical of me. Like, I could never do anything good enough. And I'm actually going to tell you something. I've never shared it with anyone. I didn't share it with my team. I didn't share it with anyone. When I was 32, he was here. I live in Ireland. He came from Poland for a holiday, and he had a few drinks with my boyfriend. They're watching the match, and he had a little bit too much to drink. And he said to me that, the reason why we never got along, the reason why I'm not fond of you, and he said it to me, my own dad, okay? The reason why I'm not fond of you is because I was sure you'll be born a boy and you were born a girl. And to me, that was a disappointment. So that was a nice slap in the face when you are 32 years of age and turns out that, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. My dad was disappointed because he wanted a son, but he got a daughter. But there's nothing wrong with me. His opinion, his disappointments got nothing to do with me. I was meant to be here, clearly, because I am here. But his behavior and his coldness and his judgment and his, constantly being very hard on me verbally, like he never abused me like physically, but verbally created that image of myself. I'm not good enough. It doesn't matter what I do, it will never be good enough. And that was my story. And I was stuck in that victimhood. And every time I experienced a heartache or something, I was like, that's why. That's why. Like it will never work. I will never be happy because I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough for that person. I'm not good enough for that person. When in reality, I was not good enough for myself. And that was the hardest work I had to do. Not getting only real with that story, but actually letting go of it. Because when I was told by one of my mentors to forgive, I nearly got sick because I was like, what do you what do you mean forgive? Like, he's been horrible to me. Like, he caused me so much pain. And she was like, no. We're not going digging again. We acknowledged, okay, we know what happened. It's done and dusted. We're not going to travel in time, change him as a person so he can become a better father. Because if he wanted to do that, he would have to go past generations because he learned it from someone. He had his own traumas and he did the best he could with what we had. And that was a very hard process for me. And the exercise that I did, and if you do have people in your life that you feel had such an impact on who you are in your own eyes right now, forgive. That will set you free. And I know that it works because I have a good relationship with him now. He doesn't trigger me. It doesn't matter how angry he gets over anything. It doesn't matter how he behaves. It doesn't matter, what he says to me or how he judges another person. I'm like, that's cool. To me, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect how I feel. I don't get defensive. I don't try to jump and defend my mom because he can be very rude to my mom. And, I was feeling very upset with her for a long time for putting up with that. Okay. Because I blamed her for me being a pushover. Like, when you start looking very from the distance at how your life is and the story you tell yourself, it will all add up. And the only way you will be able to create a new story is you will let go and forgive the people that influence your current story. And I wonder, can you think of anyone right now in your life that you have to forgive, but you feel that, intensity and it's like, I can't. I suggest you write a letter. This is an exercise that I did. It's incredibly powerful and it requires your full attention, and do not do it now. Okay. This is something you need to do in your own time. When you are alone, and can you get very vulnerable with yourself. And a lot of people avoid that work, because we want a strategy. Like, self-work is not sexy. Okay. This is not much fun when we go deep, but unless you really get into it and you let that go, you will constantly be in it. Because your reality will always reflect your story. So unless you change that, your reality is not going to change and you're going to remain in the same place. So the forgiveness letter is not for you to send to anyone. When I wrote a letter to my dad, I actually wrote 4 because 1 was not enough. I thought I was done. I would have a phone call with him. He would wish me Merry Christmas. He would say something stupid. I would feel triggered. And I was like, there's more work to be done. Right now, I don't care what he does. To me, he's a human being. I'm grateful because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. And I love my life. So I'm grateful for him. But I do not have any interest in his actions and no judgment either. And you want to write this letter to this person, and girl, you want to let it out. You want to let everything out. This is not an essay. This does not have to be pretty. This does not have to be grammatically correct. Some of the things that I said in the letter, I believe they're not even in the dictionary, but I allow that emotion out. And I gave it to him. I gave it to him. I wrote a letter to my mom. I wrote a letter to the father of my daughter because he's been nasty to me. And we do have a great relationship now, and he's very involved in our daughter's life. So it works, okay? I wrote a letter to myself, to my sister, to my fiance, like everyone, every single person that I felt there was something that I felt hurt me in some way. And it's very important that you include yourself as well, because how many times do you say, I wish I didn't do that? I wish I haven't done it. I messed up. I wish I could go back in time and do something differently. Ain't nobody going back in time. It's not going to happen. We need to learn to let go. And that letter exercise, I practice till now. I practice till now, not every day, because I genuinely, like, there's not one person that I have resentment towards. Not one. I can meet any ex and be perfectly fine. I can have conversation with my dad, and even if he flips out or just, says something stupid, I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. But I do those letters for myself. So if I feel like, I failed, if I messed up, if I'm being hard on myself, I write a letter to myself. And I give out to myself a little bit. I was like, why are you not loving yourself? Why are you being so hard on yourself? And the whole point of it is to allow you to get everything out of your system. Get it out of your system. How many times did you all have that person in front of you, okay? You all have that one person or maybe a few people in your mind that you are thinking, that's them. I need to write a letter. I don't know if I'm ready for it. Yes, you are. But in order for you to move forward, you have to set them free, because you writing a letter, you're not sending it to them, and it's not making things right. Just because you write that letter does not mean that their actions are justified, and it does not mean that you have to be friends. That is very clear. And don't think that, you're making things right with them. You don't have to. There's a lot of people that I don't talk to, but I forgave them, because this is for you and you only. So you can take off that heavy backpack with all that resentment and all that anger and all those feelings that keep you in the position in which you are feeling the way you are. Because if you do not make room for the good will not come. And I know it sounds so cheesy and corny, but that's the reality. You have to make room for those positive things in your life. And if you feel resentment, you're gonna attract resentment. And that work for me was a massive breakthrough. And you might want to write it down when you finish letting things go. Okay, so when you finish writing everything that you felt with regards to that person and what they did or what they did not do, you want to finish with the words, I forgive you. It's so important that you write that. You write, I forgive myself and I am now free. And that was taught to me by my mentor in a very intense program. And you write those 3 things on the bottom and you destroy the letter and it's gone. And then if that person triggers you again, you write another one and you do it for as long as you feel those emotions. And there will be a day when you're going to encounter that person, or they're going to say something, or they're going to do something, and you're going to see them for who they are. Just another human being with their own story, which they try very hard to portray on you. They got nothing to do with you. Who you are and who you think you are has got nothing to do with you. It becomes like this amazing separation, and you get a distance between yourself and that person, and you don't see them as your ex, as your dad, as your mom, as whoever, you see them as a human being with their own story, and you're like, that's cool. That's cool. Like, it's got nothing to do with me anymore. And that's how I healed that relationship with my dad, because he is in my life. I do not want to cut him out of my life. Like, we still see each other. He is with my mom. But there is no resentment and tension. So remember, I forgive you. I forgive myself. I am now free, and destroy the letter. This is such a powerful exercise. And I strongly suggest you do it. It doesn't have to be tonight. This is just for you, okay? In your own time. And once you do it, the next step is to create a new empowering story. So who do you want to be? And more importantly, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be? I knew that I want to be more confident. I wanted to be more loving. I wanted to trust. I want to be someone who's disciplined. I want to be someone who is, successful, but feels worthy of that success. I want to be someone who receives with gratitude and not feeling of like I'm not good enough for that. And I listed all of those things that I want to feel. I want to enjoy travel. I want to be present with my kids. I want to experience joy. I want to experience love. I want to experience whatever it is. We're all different. But the bottom line is that you have to very consciously create that story and make it your own new story. Because sometimes we believe that the way we are, it's just the way we are, and there's nothing we can do about it. But if you do those exercises, I guarantee you will notice the change, because this is exactly what I did and what I experienced in my life. And I use my personal relationship as an example, because prior to me doing this work, I told you that before, I was a jealous person. I didn't feel like I'm good enough. I didn't feel pretty enough. I didn't feel, like worthy of somebody's love and worthy of all the gifts and amazing things I was receiving from him. Okay. I was like, there's like, I don't know, something's off. I just don't feel, he's being honest with me. Maybe he's being nice to me. Maybe he's feeling sorry for me. Like, that's how low I felt about myself. And we were arguing a lot because I had a very certain expectation of him and how I wanted to be loved. So I wanted him to, say nice things to me and compliment me. Unless he said to me that I look nice, I didn't believe I looked nice. And it's because I craved that from my dad. Daddy's issues. Like, I think it's a real thing. It's a crappy term, but it's a real thing. And I crave that when his love language is completely different. My love language, by the way, there's a book called 4 or 5 love languages. Amazing, absolutely amazing. But I learned that my love language is words and touch, affection. His love language, which means how he expresses feelings, is through gifts. So I was trying to change him so he will meet my expectations. So he would tell me things I wanted him to tell me so I would feel good about myself. And that was causing friction because he was trying very hard, but it's just not him. And very often he didn't know how to meet my expectations. And it was a messy situation because not only, we had our responsibilities as parents, he also has his own business. So he was, felt pressure that I still need to, I need to take care of all this. And on top of that, I need to make her happy. And we nearly broke up. We nearly broke up because we were fighting constantly. Like, luckily, we are very mature people. We never do it in front of the kids. But we had no fun together. We didn't like each other. We were only focusing on things that were annoying us. And when I allowed myself to really have a hard look at myself and do this work and forgive myself and forgive him and everybody else, mainly my father, everything started to change because my energy changed. I was like, I am worthy. I am valuable. I know what I bring. I know, what makes me me is very unique. And therefore I am lovable. And I allowed myself to receive with gratitude. And when my energy shifted, he responded because I wasn't giving out. I was focusing more on the good. And most of all, I was focused more on myself. I was doing things that were making me happy. That network marketing business that I started was making me happy. And I dove into it. And he could see that. He could see that I'm creating content, I'm speaking to people. I was asked to speak at the, team training and stuff like that. And my energy was getting higher and higher. I was feeling better about myself, but it's because I was making myself happy and I didn't expect him to make me happy. And he responded and he opened up and he relaxed around me. There was no more fighting. There was no more worrying. Oh my God, what if somebody hits on him? Of course, there are people hitting on other people. I was like, what was I even thinking? That's a human nature. But I know that no matter what happens, I'll be fine because there's nothing wrong with me. And I'm okay no matter what life throws my way, because life will throw us curveballs at all times. It's not smooth sailing, okay? Like life wouldn't be fun if it was all the same. But when you have that belief in yourself and you know your worth and you know your value, you have that confidence that no matter what happens, you will be fine. And that confidence and feeling empowered, and sure of myself, aware of myself, was part of my new story. I was like, I'm creating a very successful woman who's fulfilled as a mother, as a partner, as a leader, all those things. I created an image, and every day I work on, developing that image, making that image reality every single day. And you may be wondering, okay, well, that's great. I have that new story. What do I do with it? Okay, well, this is your step 3. And again, there's so many things. If you were to Google, how to change my identity, how to change my beliefs about myself, it's overwhelming. It is overwhelming. For the most common way, and you can share in the chat if you've done it, is affirmations. Affirmations as in I don't feel lovable, and your affirmation is I am lovable. For somebody that lived that story for years and years and years and years, I am not lovable, going to I'm lovable is like bullshit. No, we don't believe that. Okay, you can keep saying this to yourself, but on a deeper level, you will never believe that. And that's why I love incantations. And these are sentences that kind of bridge the gap. So my favorite ones, for example, is, and they're so simple, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I love myself more and more, because they're fun to say and they're easy to remember. And I say them when I'm walking the dog. I love saying them when I'm at my fitness class. I do fitness classes 3 times a week, as in I take part in fitness classes. And when we're doing slam ball, and we're doing jog on the spot, or we're doing something very high intensity, this is what I say them in my own head. And the music is very loud and it's got this emotional impact. So my body responds to them. So it's not like every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. That's not going to create that change. Okay. You really have to feel it and allow yourself to say them out loud. I cannot wait for kids to go back to school, because what do you think I do when I clean the kitchen and there's nobody in the house? I am loud. And everything I say is every day, in every way, I am becoming, and you enter whatever it is that you want to work on. Happier and happier, wealthier and wealthier, whatever it may be, okay? But you have to, that's why I said creating that story is so important. And those incantations are there to help you bridge the gap. Because here's what happens. The reason why you have the story that you have now is because you believed the things you heard as a child. It's as simple as that. This is so well known at the moment, and that's why so many people goes to therapy, because they want to unravel everything that happened in the childhood. Everything you think of yourself now is the result of what you heard, what you seen, what you experienced as a kid. So the only way to really get that new story into not just your mind, to your heart, so it's a belief, it's at your core, it's not going to change no matter what happens, is through repetition. And this is where people go like, oh, it requires work. I need to put in the work. And it gets hard because you have to do it every day until one day it becomes, I am living that. I am that person. One of my affirmations was that I'm so happy and grateful that my boyfriend proposed to me in the most beautiful way. And I said that, I had it recorded, and he did. And that was weeks after I even stopped doing this affirmation. I believed that, and I let go. And he proposed to me. So that's why I say it to you. That's why I created that meeting, because I know it works. And I know what it's done in my life. And if you allow yourself to do those things that may seem to you so irrational at the moment, it's like, what do you mean writing my story, changing my story, doing incantations? You don't have to, do them running around the fireplace and with sage, okay? It's not about that. It's about repetition and getting your mind to understand that this is the new story. Because the more you repeat it, the more you say to yourself, the more emotion you put into it, the quicker your body will respond, the quicker your mind will respond, and therefore everything around you. And, for me, for my business, one of the important things is to becoming an excellent leader. So one of my incantation is every day in every way, I'm becoming stronger, a better leader. Every day in every way, more and more people want to work with me because they see the value of this partnership. And I say that, and I say that, and I say that. And every day I'm having more conversations because my reality is responding of the energy I'm putting out. I know it's heavy, okay? And I know it's full on, and we are nearly done. But that's the most important thing, to really put everything into practice and take action. Do not make the same mistake as I did and just stop on educating yourself. You have got to take action. Get clear on what changes you want to create. Is it your health? Is it your finances? Is it your relationships? Every area of your life will reflect the story that you tell yourself, and you need to create the plan for it. What is it that you want to change? Is it leaving the relationship, or do you want to work on that relationship? And if yes, what type of a relationship do you want? And get clear on your values, on your standards. That is so important, because a lot of times we feel the disconnect is because we settle for things that are not in accordance with our values. So if integrity is very important to you, you will feel disconnect around people or situations that are not, integral. And take action. With every single step, your confidence will grow. Like, confidence is nothing else but willingness to try. And yes, the action will be scary and it will be messy. And sometimes, you may think, okay, if I do it, what will be next? You don't know that. You don't know that, but the next step will never appear unless you take the first one. And you will never take the first step unless you know where you're going. So this is like the most amazing work you can do for yourself, is to let go of everything that is not serving you and focus on the things where you want to go. Focus on the things that you want to create and do them scared. Take those first actions scared, because confidence grows when, you do those scary things that you promised yourself will do. When you start doing the things you say you will do, you will be unstoppable. And that's my favorite quote. And I'm going to finish on that quote because it's already 9:10. And I was hoping to be finished in an hour, But I really wanted to get everything across is that if it's got to be, it's up to me. It was Mel Robbins that said, there was this viral reel that she said, nobody's coming to save you. And that hit me so hard, because sometimes I think we have this mentality that, oh, things will somehow work out. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to sort itself out. It will not. Unless you actively start making the changes, nothing's going to change. And to me, it was so powerful, and it really made me realize that I am capable. I am capable of creating that change. So no matter what happens in my personal life or the world outside, economics, inflation, this and that, I'll be fine. I will get through it, because I know that I'm worthy as a person. There's nothing wrong with me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me. I'm a good person. And I am capable to make the changes if I'm willing to take the action. And the more action I take, the more confident I become. And make sure that your environment reflects everything that you're working on. Because I think it was on the, where was it? Step 4, exactly. And I skipped through that, is your environment. It will make you or break you. Before I started doing any of that work, I was in a very toxic Gossip Girls kind of group, when there was one leader and she was genuinely very mean most of the time. And we had to do everything she wanted to do. And every time we'll meet up with each other, we'll be speaking about the person that wasn't there. Like, it just makes me feel so sad, but at the same time, so grateful and proud of myself, of the work that I did, because that's in the past. I completely disconnected myself from it, and not even consciously. Those relationships faded out. They just started to, make me feel very uncomfortable, and I let go of them. And now I surround myself with people that genuinely inspire me to do better, to be better, who encourage that growth in me. And a lot of those people are the women that I work with, in our work environment, but a lot of them are online. And I follow them and I watch their content. And, the podcast that I listen to, every single thing that goes inside, my ears, that I watch, that I hear, reflects what I want to create. So don't be afraid to let go of those relationships that are not serving you anymore, and get yourself around people that make you want to up level. And I think I covered everything, and I apologize if you feel like, it's been a lot, and, perhaps you need to watch it again, or if you have questions, just, you can reach out to me even after, you can just pop me a message on the Instagram. But the bottom line is that, yes, you can change, and yes, you can really create the life of your dreams. It's not, for selected people. Like, you see the tiny baby on the screen, like, that baby didn't come with a worth tag attached to it. We attach those tags to ourselves over time. And the same goes with you. And I hope you leave here tonight, with a spark of a thought. I'm not expecting you to have a massive breakthrough or anything, because that will happen as you start taking action, as you start having thoughts about where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. But I hope that kind of initiated that. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your time, for being here. It genuinely means a lot to me, because, it is your time, and it is your greatest asset. And think about time is that doesn't stop, and it doesn't wait. And you have everything that you need to create what you want to create already. It's not about waiting for the perfect time. It's not waiting for the stars to be aligned. You already have what it takes. And you are so right, Nicole. Like, the most important person in the world is me. It is you. And there's no shame in that. And there's no selfishness in that. And this is something I'm still working on. Like, I heard that thing yesterday. I was going through different things to prepare for our meeting tonight, and somebody said, quickly name three people you love the most in the world. And I was like, okay, Patrick, Luke, Anna. And 2 seconds later, I was like, did you name yourself? And I was like, oh, it's not automatic yet. Like, I'm not there yet, but it's work in progress. And every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And every day in every way, I love myself more and more. And that's why I love this work so much. And that's why I love this, sharing this work with other women and men also, because there's so much power in it. There's so much power in you, and in all of us. And we can do incredible things with it. So ladies, thank you so much for staying with me till the very end. It's nearly 9:30 in the evening on Sunday. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for your lovely comments here as well. Have the most amazing evening. And if you need any, screenshots or anything after, let me know. I will answer any of your questions. So I would love to say, go and love yourself. Okay, but make it your priority. Make it your priority to really put yourself first and see yourself for who you really are, like an absolutely capable, worthy, and beautiful person. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you.